What's going on, guys? So this video is going to be a little different than the past videos that I've shot. Last night my ex-girlfriend called me. Called me out of the blue. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I don't still miss her, or it was good to hear her voice, or I still have feelings for her. But that conversation went about like you expect the conversation with an ex-girlfriend to go. We ended up getting off the phone, probably 45 minutes or so. And, I get in bed, laying down, watching Better Call Saul. I was a huge fan of Breaking Bad, and, and then so far this show is pretty good. Well, I'm laying in bed, and my dogs start barking, going crazy. And I don't think anything of it. My friends are notorious for just showing up at the house. Not calling, not texting, just showing up. So I just assumed, it's one of my friends. Well, I look out the window and I see blue lights. And the first thing that goes to my mind is my mom okay? And then I think, did she really call the cops on me because we had an argument? I throw on some clothes, some shoes, and I go to the door, and the officer's like, "Hey, I'm here to do a welfare check." And I'm confused. A welfare check on what? And he was like, "Hey, is this so-and-so, is this your address?" So yeah, that's my address. And then he asked, "Are you so-and-so?" So I pull out my license and I show him, this is me and this is my house. Like, what's up? And that's when he tells me that one of my friends was involved in a shooting. And that was the last thing that I expected to hear that day. Out of all my friends, he was the last one that I would expect to hear anything like that from, or about. Going through a breakup, talking to her and then hearing that, and officer was a real cool guy, very, very respectful, and, answered all my questions. And, me and him actually ended up talking, about his story. He was a guy who moved here from Washington State, and joining law enforcement was his second chapter in life to a certain degree. But after he left and I had time to really think about the magnitude of this situation, all I can think about is this guy's mom. And I'm headed there later today to make sure she's okay. You know, but I really do enjoy making YouTube videos. And the only reason I'm making this one is there's so much to a person than what we show on camera. You know, and I think that applies to not even people who make YouTube videos. There's so much to people that we keep bottled up inside that we don't know the whole scope of what they're truly dealing with. And that's honestly the only reason why I'm making this video. Yeah, I enjoy taking care of these goats. You know, these stanky ass goats. You know, I enjoy feeding them and stuff like that. You know, I enjoy farming. But you know, outside of stuff that I do show, I am still a person. You know, a person who deals with relationship problems, you know, family problems, problems with my friends, you know, finances, everything that you deal with. You know, this one's rough. You know, I always look at this guy as a brother to a certain degree. You know, I've known him you know, I've known him almost half of my life. You know, I've known him I've known him forever. But just to get that news, you know, that's yeah, I can't put that into words. But make sure you're checking on your friends. You know, make sure that their chickens are good. You know, that if they're dealing with something, you know, be there to listen to them. You know, I just make sure that your friends are good. You know, make sure that the problems that they're dealing with, things that they don't talk about, that they can feel comfortable enough to talk about those things around you. You know, that they feel that this isn't a judgment zone, you know. And I'm not saying that you agree with certain things that your friends do that go against your beliefs or your morals, or you agree with their delusional bad decisions that they're going to make, and you're more so a yes man or a yes woman. But you are a beacon in their life that when they're dealing with some real shit, that they feel comfortable enough to speak with you. You know, you know, it's crazy as you get older and life takes shits on you throughout the years, you know, and you think back to how easy things were to a certain degree when you were a kid. And, you know, we look so forward to, I can't wait till I get older. I can do this, I can do that. And then there's so many other problems that come up later in life that you never had to deal with in your youth. And it almost makes you wish you had enjoyed that time a little more. But anyways, guys, as always, thank y'all for watching. Thank you for all the new subscribers. We'll be back on the farm videos. When we get back to the farm videos.